Hey, welcome to today's episode of Kidstown Corner. Today we're going to talk about why we pull teeth. What's a dental extraction? Sometimes you hear that word and you're like, oh, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
And it's not usually great, but we have ways to make it a little better. So, extraction.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, one of the first things we'll do is parents will always hear me use the word wiggle instead of pull or extraction, and sometimes it confuses them. They're like, what are you talking about? What are we doing? But we'll use terms like that around the kids so that they don't get real upset or real nervous when we're talking about removing teeth, because it is probably one of the biggest dental anxiety fears that people have is having teeth removed. And so the good news is, in baby teeth, generally, removing a baby tooth doesn't tend to be as difficult or complicated or painful as removing an adult permanent tooth can be sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dr. Wren talked a little bit about raising fears, and probably the biggest fear that most kids have is are you going to pull my tooth? There's so many times I come out to do an exam on one of these tables and the kiddo is already just freaking out, a little 6 or 7 year old kiddo, and the first thing they say, don't pull my tooth, don't pull my tooth. And rarely, if ever, do I need to actually pull the tooth, and I usually tell them, no, there's nothing we have to worry about. We're just going to take a look. I'm just counting your teeth. We're looking around, and then we can go from there. If it does indeed need to be pulled, there's a lot of options. Let's say I do have a kiddo that, we see a lot of what we call shark teeth. And that's when, especially on the bottom here, we'll get the permanent teeth growing behind the baby teeth. And depending on, and this is a good time to actually educate with this, because we have a lot of people who come in with shark teeth that don't even need to be seen at all. If those teeth are really loose in front of the teeth coming in, just keep wiggling them. They're gonna come out on their own. No big deal. But if those permanent teeth are coming in behind those baby teeth, especially down here, that's where you're gonna see it the most, and those are barely budging, most of the time we're gonna have to help.
And once we get those baby teeth out of the way, those permanent teeth will usually move forward and move into position. So that's a concern that parents will have a lot of times is, oh my gosh, those permanent teeth, they're so far out of place, they're so far back there. Are they going to be stuck back there? But again, once those baby teeth are out of the way, they usually move forward. And like Dr. Brett said, as long as those teeth are loosening up by themselves, give them some more time. Kids can usually get those out on their own. Other times that we might have to remove a baby tooth is, sometimes following trauma. Your child might fall and they might hit their teeth, and they might loosen up so severely that they can't be saved, and they're better off just removing them and getting them out of the way.
Yeah, another time we pull teeth, and sometimes we have to pull permanent teeth, is with an orthodontist's consult. They may say, this kid's so crowded, there is no way these teeth can come in without pulling baby teeth to create some space. Now that's gonna still catch up to us over the long haul. Where those baby teeth came out, others are gonna still need to grow in. So sometimes the crowding isn't solved, but the short-term problem is. But then later on, they may come back and say, yeah, we still don't have enough room. We've got to actually take a few of these permanent teeth out. So sometimes with an orthodontist's expert opinion and their consult and some careful planning between the two of us, we'll get some permanent teeth out to create space and get that beautiful Hollywood smile everyone's going for, So that's another option or reason we may pull baby teeth and or permanent teeth.
Yeah. In addition to that, we talked about maybe a baby tooth isn't savable following trauma. Also, the same thing may be true with decay. If the decay is extensive enough, that tooth may not be able to be saved, and it may be better off just removing that tooth so that it doesn't do any damage to the permanent teeth that are developing or cause any facial swelling or anything like that. So, one of the reasons why we try to save these baby teeth when we can is because part of the job of these baby teeth is to hold the space for the permanent tooth so that it has some place to come into when it's its time. If you lose a baby tooth too early, sometimes the teeth behind it want to try and slide forward and steal that space. So you'll hear us talk about space maintainers that we can place following an extraction to hold that space there and make sure that that permanent tooth has the space it needs to come in when it's time.
So I think we've covered pretty well all things extraction. Why we wiggle teeth. So that should ideally answer your questions. Shark teeth is one of the most common questions we get and one of the more common issues. I mean, if it's not daily, it's at least every other day that we see them. But hopefully that's been helpful to you today, this episode of Kids Time Corner. If there's questions or anything, put them down below. We'd be happy to answer. Share it with your friends. You never know if you've got a shark tooth kiddo next door. So share it, help them out. Have a good day.